Good evening. Call to order City of Revere Council meeting of October 2nd, 2017. We'll all rise and salute the flag.
Mr. President, could we stand for a moment of silence for those that were lost in Las Vegas, please?
Certainly.
Roll call of the members. Councilor Janino is absent. Councilor Guanasso?
Here.
Here. Councilor McKenna?
Here.
Here. Councilor Morbido?
Here.
Here. Councilor Novoselsky?
Here.
Here. Councilor Patch?
Here.
Here. Councilor Powers?
Here.
Here. Councilor Rotundo?
Present.
Here. Councilor Zambudo?
Here.
Here. And Council Vice President Keefe?
Here.
Here. Quorum is present. Approval of the journal of the meeting of September 25th, 2017. Council Order 17-348, motion presented by Councilor Guanasso that the City Council award a certificate of appreciation to Albert J. Terminello Jr. for 50 years of dedicated service to the Revere League of Special Needs by making a better life for Revere special citizens through education and social events.
Councilor Guanasso.
Mr. Vice President, Mr. Vice President, members of the council, and those in the audience and those at home. Al Terminello has dedicated his whole life practically to serving people who certainly in special needs that need some help at a given time. And I have a prepared text that I would like to read for the record. And it goes as follows. Al was 13 years old when he was introduced to the Revere League by his mom, Barbara, whom the treasurer at the time. She was treasurer of the league. Al was a Boy Scout from St. Anthony's Troop 5 and always willing to help. He quickly became involved with the group, and a short time later, a scout troop was formed for the members of the league. A few years passed, and Al was working on his Eagle Scout Award, using his years with the league as a service project and his other community involvements. He became an Eagle Scout at the age of 16 and a half. He didn't end there. Al had a newfound friends that he enjoyed being with and bonded with, families and friends of the clients of the Revere League, helping out with the famous fundraising telethons at the 200 Winthrop Ave headquarters and expanding the program. Over the past 50 years, the Revere League for Special Needs has grown from a handful of local clients to encompass surrounding cities and group homes. The League offers a place for its clients to call their own and friendly faces that are willing to help and make it that way. Al sponsors an end-of-summer barbecue for over 100 clients and family members for the past 10 years. It has been part of the continuing growth of programs, both social and educational. His dedication to helping both students and adults with special needs has expanded to other communities where he has been asked to input his knowledge and talents to help others, surrounding communities built on or expand their special need program. So for this, I offer this certificate of appreciation for his service to the community for over 50 years. Congratulations, Al.
Thank you very, very much.
I will read the certificate as it appears. Revere Certificate of Appreciation in acknowledgement of 50 years of dedicated service to the Revere League of Special Needs by making a better life for Revere special citizens through the education and social events. Special recognition is hereby accorded to Albert J. Terminello Jr., The certificate of appreciation is presented by the City Council of the City of Revere, Massachusetts, on behalf of its citizens, the second day of October in the year of our Lord, 2017, and the independence of the United States of America, 241st. Offered out and signed by our City Clerk, Ashley E. Melnick. Signed, Patrick M. Keefe, City Council President. Motion offered by Councilor Guanasso. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. Thank you very much, Patrick. I'm usually not on the other side of these things.
Someone taking a picture for you?
Yes. Where's this camera? No, we're using the phone. Well, never shortage for words.
All right.
I can't say 50 years was a long time because spending time with people I consider my family is not really a long time whatsoever. I've really become fond of the league. It's grown. It started out with just a few local people, and it used to be called the Revere League for the Retarded. It took them 30 years to change the name to the Revere League for Special Needs. And the slogan they came up with to get the name changed and all the paperwork that was done was put labels on jars, not on people. And that same saying has never been so true today as it was 30 years ago when they changed the name. But anyway, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Councilor Guanasso and the City Council for giving me this. The Revere League is really great. I want to thank the President of the League, Michelle DeMarmo, is here tomorrow. Two things that are coming up. I'd just like to make this announcement now. I have been sponsoring a barbecue for the kids every year for the last 10 years, and it never really had a name. So tonight, in front of everybody on TV, I want to call it the Family and Friends Barbecue in memory of Barbara Terminello. So, I was also very fortunate this year for the first time that we brought the Revere League for Special Needs and the school group CPAC together. We brought those two groups together for the first time in 10 years. It took 3 years of negotiations to do it. We finally got the president, again, Michelle and Peter. We sat down and we had a dance for them, and with the help of with Dennis Michelle, who donated the hall, and everybody that supported us, we had the first event, which was only a baby step forward, but it was a step forward, and we have more to come. So with that, I'm going to end, and again, I want to thank everybody very much, and I appreciate it. And my friends at the Revere League for Special Needs, I love you all. Thank you. Again, thank you very much. Great, I'll call you.
Council Order 17-346, this is a motion of reconsideration.
Roll call.
Shall the City Council reconsider Council Order number 17-346? Councilor Janino?
No.
No. Councilor Guanasso?
No.
No. Councilor McKenna?
No.
No. Councilor Morabito?
No.
No. Councilor Novoselsky?
No.
No. Councilor Patch?
No.
No. Councilor Powers?
No.
No. Councilor Rotundo?
No.
No. Councilor Zambudo?
No.
No. And Council Vice President Keefe?
No.
No, the council order will not be reconsidered.
Point of order.
Councilor Rotundo?
Regarding this issue, and if I may, I'm dead set against the legalization of drugs, but with that said, the one thing that we have to be mindful of as counselors, as fiduciary protectors of the city's wallet is process. If we don't follow protocol, we open ourselves up to great legal peril. We should never do that again. That should never be acceptable anywhere. You don't go to a hospital where they don't follow protocol, because if you did, people would die. Here, people get sued. And in the end, that's what happened at T&D Video, and we lost millions of dollars because we didn't follow protocol. Emotions are fine, I get that. But if we don't follow protocol, we could end up with a lawsuit well above $20 million. So, in the future, we need to stick to protocol, and if I was here, you can rest assured we would have followed protocol.
Mr. Vice President.
Counselor Guanasso.
Mr. Vice President, I don't want a further debate on this issue. We followed protocol to the fullest. We met the city's obligation. We met our rules of order. I know the rules of order by heart. Everything we did was in conjunction with legality. Everything was proper, and we crossed our T's and we dotted our I's, and we did everything the right way. So, councilors, rest assured, this could not withstand a challenge in courts. We've done what we had to do, and we did it the right way. Thank you for your consideration, and thank you for your vote on this very, very important matter to our community.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, I'm not here to debate this. I would like, as Councilor Rotundo had mentioned, I did do a little bit more homework and was able to get some more information in regards to this, to have better literature and better wording, as you may want. So I would ask is that we take 17-364 and 17-365 out of order and take those up next, because those have a lot to do with more of the specifics. Motion to suspend rules. Thank you.
Late motion presented by Councilor Keefe that the following ordinance amendment be ordered to a public hearing. An ordinance prohibiting non-medical marijuana establishments within the city of Revere. Title IX, Public Peace, Safety, and Welfare of the revised ordinances of the city of Revere is hereby amended by inserting the following new chapter, 9.18, Prohibition of Non-Medical Marijuana Establishments. Section 1, consistent with General Laws, Chapter 94G and Section 3A2, all types of non-medical marijuana establishments as defined in with General Laws, Chapter 94G and 1, including marijuana cultivators, independent testing laboratories, marijuana product manufacturers, marijuana retailers, or any other types of licensed marijuana-related businesses shall be prohibited within the city of Revere.
Any councilors wishing to speak? Councilor Rotundo.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. President, to City Solicitor Capizzi, if you would step to the podium, please.
Hi, Councilor.
I told you we were getting up there.
What can I do for you?
So with this ordinance change, my understanding is that the current facility down at Railroad, so people know exactly what's going on, so that in full disclosure, they know exactly what's taking place, that facility down at Railroad Street will stay. It will stand.
Correct. That facility was granted a special permit by this council to operate as a medicinal facility. They have also been certified by the Department of Public Health, so we cannot prevent them from opening if that's what the council
Can they
is thinking.
change into a retail in the future?
Yes, they can.
And there's nothing the city can do, correct?
Correct. In fact, the law strictly
Prohibits it.
states that we shall not pass any ordinance or bylaw to prohibit a medical facility from converting to a retail facility.
And that's within the statute, correct?
That's exactly, it's in 94G, it was in the new House Bill 8381, which was recently signed by the governor in July.
Exactly. And if we went through the process of trying to remove them, what you would consider the largest settlement that they would ask for?
Well, I'm disinclined to speculate on how litigation may turn out. I don't know exactly what that process would be to remove
But
them.
it would be costly.
Certainly, but it would not be inexpensive. But they've already been granted a special permit, and they're operating under the law.
And it
They've
would be
already been
capricious
registered.
and arbitrary to do anything thereafter.
I'm not going to let you put words in my mouth. I don't know what that doing thereafter would be specifically. But there's
Exactly.
nothing this council could legally do to stop the medical marijuana facility from operating or from converting if it so decided to do so.
So I am 110% for this because it prevents anybody else from coming in here. period. And that's my goal here, to prevent anybody thereafter to come in here. One is more than enough. And anyway, that said, I'm glad that you put this forward. I'm glad that we're going to put this in committee and that we can assure that this is done appropriately. And I thank you for your diligence in this, Paul. And frankly, you need a raise, so, you know,
Is
that's
that on the
just.
agenda? Because that's never on the agenda.
Well,
Get that on the
the
agenda.
rules are
I'd be happy to
suspended,
talk
so I make a motion, we give him a $50,000 raise. Thank you.
Councilor Zambudo.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I'm obviously supporting the new motion now that we're at no risk for legal action. As I tried to say the other night, and I tried to send this to committee because I had the law in front of me, but nobody wanted to listen to me. The bottom line is, we granted a medical marijuana license to a facility. The law states we cannot stop them from converting, should they want to. Now, there's been no indication that they will convert, and that's a good thing. But we can't stop them legally, and the bottom line is that if they do convert, I hope we're all going to be on board to look for the 3% surcharge that goes along with that law, because it would be completely irresponsible to the taxpayer for us not to do that. Because as I tried to say ineloquently at the last meeting, when I was talking about transportation, people thought I was talking about people transporting pot to the city of Revere. What I was talking about was that other surrounding cities and towns like Everett and Chelsea and Saugus could deliver it to the houses, deliver the pot to the houses, and we wouldn't be getting the 3%, we'd just be getting the pot. That was the point I didn't make clearly enough, because people said to me, well, I didn't know what you were talking about, transportation. But more importantly, what I was trying to do was protect the taxpayers. I said at the outset, I worked against the legalization of recreational marijuana. I dare say I worked as hard as anybody else. I did a lot with the governor, and I did a lot to try to prevent it, and we weren't successful. But the other thing I have to do up here is protect the city from lawsuits. And if we thought TD Video was a big lawsuit, we ain't seen nothing yet when you go back on a law that's as clear as this law and try to stop the one facility that we've already permitted from doing it. But the good news is they haven't indicated that they even want to convert. But should they have the right to do it. So anyways, I'm completely in support of this new ban, which bans anybody else from coming in the city and opening a recreational marijuana shop. Can't be done. And so I support this wholeheartedly. I thank you all for your hard work, Mr. President. And I think in the future, we should take a step back, let everything always go to committee, because this would have been discussed in committee with the city solicitor. We would have known this, and then we would have been right at the same point we're at now without any animosity. Thank you.
Councilor Guanasso.
Well, before I made my statements 5 minutes ago, I received an email from the city solicitor, and the question rose, may the city council place a ban on the sale of recreational marijuana in Revere? The very simple answer was, yes, the city council may ban the sale of recreational marijuana in Revere. They may not prevent an already licensed medical marijuana facility from converting to a recreational marijuana facility. So the answer was right there, given to each and every one of us. So we all had this information before we came to this meeting, if we took the time to read it. And so we're versed in knowing that we're being led in the right direction by the city solicitor. We're getting a guidance from him. And so he's the learned source to which we get this information. So I feel very comfortable in the actions we have taken. And in terms of the 3% sale that we might not participate in, even the makers of the question 4 have said it's a far-fetched idea with the remotest chance of passing. There's over 100 cities and towns in the Commonwealth who have voted to ban recreational marijuana. So trust that this will not prevail. We will get our share of the 3% sales that are distributed throughout the Commonwealth, and so that question is removed. And that's from the confident people who presented it. So facts may be what they may, and we can spin what we want to spin, and we can have as many meetings as we want. But I feel very, very comfortable in the guidance that we've received, and I feel very, very comfortable in the guidance in the performances that we've done. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you. Councilor Janino.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I think that this was very well done. It was organized. We had all the facts in front of us. It's going to a public hearing, and we'll follow all the appropriate procedures that we need to as a city council. Last week, it was frustrating it just went quick. We didn't have all the information in front of us. It went very quick, and it was frustrating to see something follow that order on the council, but this is great. It's well organized, it's well thought out. I have clear notes from the solicitor's office, and it's something that I can wholeheartedly support. I think it protects our city, and it was very well done. So great job, Mr. Vice President and Mr. Solicitor, and I look forward to supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Morabito.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I want to commend you on this motion, Ms. Councilor Keefe, and congratulate all the advocates of this issue. It was very controversial. I can see why my colleagues thought the way they did, and we always, when something like this comes before us, we always want to look at how it can affect us legally. Is it going to cost the city money? One thing, I have a question for the city solicitor. I believe not only can we get the 3% of gross sales of recreational sales, we can also negotiate a host community agreement of up to 2 to 3% in addition.
I'm not sure that's accurate. There's a host community agreement provision in which I'm aware, and I'm not an expert on this by any stretch, was a host community agreement that was in the statute for medical marijuana facilities. Now that the legislature changed the bill as passed and adopted House Bill 8381, there is a local tax option of up to 3%. That may be the most that we can receive from the facility, although I'm not 100% certain. Please bear in mind that this is new territory. The Cannabis Control Commission is yet to be formed, and they're going to adopt a whole bunch of regulations that may some way guide whether or not this facility will convert from, or how it will convert, if it chooses to convert, from a medical facility to a recreational facility. Currently, I believe the administration is working on a host community agreement with the medical facility. But if it chooses to convert and does convert to a recreational facility, I don't know exactly how that's implemented specifically. And again, the guidelines are still expected to come out in the not too distant future from the Cannabis Control Commission, and those regulations should offer some guidance in that regard.
Yeah, because I know before when I read the law, it said up to 3%. We can gain 3% in sales, we can collect 3%, and then if, in addition, with the host community agreement, we could get 2 to 3%, but it's been good.
It's gone through some changes.
Now, so.
Yeah, it's gone through some changes. I'm not specifically accurate on what those details are, but I know once it's recreational, we do have the local tax option of 3% on all the sales.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Novoselsky.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Mr. Vice President, I just want to say this is a great idea. I'm glad we're going through the proper procedure and that we have all the information in front of us. I want to thank the city solicitor and the mayor for, pursuing the definition and description of the information that we were looking for in the first place. So, we probably wouldn't have, had to go through this if we just waited one more week, but we got it, we have it, it's understood, and we're going to get our piece of the action through medical marijuana, and if they go into a recreational setup somehow at their facility. There is like it was stated, that there is a mitigation, and I feel comfortable with the way the vote went tonight, and I feel comfortable with the future ordinance that may come up after next month. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Counselor Rotundo, did you have a, Counselor Patch? No?
Mr. President, I just agree with the council on my right here. I was against the sale of recreational marijuana, but I mean, it's, if this is the law as we see it now, I'm fine with it, and I want to thank you for your hard work in putting this together, and at the end, we'll, I think it'll work out for the best for the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Permission to speak from the chair? Okay with that? Thank you. I'm going to go by the rules here. Everyone knows my feelings on this. I've been very vocal since before I've been on the council in regards to my feelings on any types of marijuana and any types of legalization, whether it's medicinal or recreational. I was very upset years ago when it was passed. I think, like I said, everyone understands my feelings, but I want to make it very clear. I put the city at no jeopardy, in no jeopardy. And Mr. Capizzi, I'm sure you could agree with me. You could stand up and I'll ask you a question. But before I consulted with the city's attorney, well, I consulted a number of times and also consulted with our election commissioner because I was potentially going to put a ballot initiative if we needed to. I spoke with the Joint Commission on Marijuana at the State House many of times. I spoke with Representative Vincent many of times. She was extremely helpful. I never put the city at risk. And Mr. Capizzi, could you tell me did I put the city at any risk because of my motion last week?
You know, it's a tough question,
Yes
but
or no
no.
question?
No.
What's that?
No, you have not put the city at risk, to the best
Thank
of
you.
my knowledge. You were
Thank you.
very vocal in wanting to know how the law would apply.
Thank you. I just wanted to make that clear. I did my homework. I went and spoke to the State House, representatives of the State House, went and spoke to our own representatives, and I knew exactly what I was doing. I may have acted quickly because I was very passionate about that topic. And if I'm at fault with anything, I took this one to heart. And whenever it comes to our children in this city, whenever it comes to our children, I will always act to my heart first, 100%. So I ask that we order this to a public hearing. Thank you.
Council Order 17-365, motion presented by Councilor Keefe, that the City Council order to a public hearing the repeal of Council Order 17-070, an ordinance amending the zoning ordinances of the City of Revere, definition of recreational marijuana facility.
This is going to be ordered to a public hearing. This, any councilors wishing to speak? Very simple? No? And actually, just permission to speak from the chair one more time. This is just to clarify to pull back some previous zoning that had been possible before. We would be repealing the previous marijuana zoning that was put in place. Obviously, this will not impact the current medicinal site that has yet to open. Okay, that's all. Order to a public hearing.
Public Works Subcommittee report.
Council Novoselsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, subcommittee met earlier this evening, and there were four petitions submitted by National Grid. Excuse me. And they were regarding new pole locations along Revere Street. And we felt it was imperative that we slow down National Grid and have them take care of the store owner that they actually hurt over the last 3 years by reducing their power and not replacing a transformer that should have been replaced 3 years ago. So the committee voted on items 17, 297, 298, and 299, and 300 to recommend approval, and that the council vote on all four separately. So we'll take four separate votes, if we would, Madam Clerk.
Roll call.
On Council Order 17, oh, sorry.
Council Patch.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. First of all, I want to say that the Ward 3 Council did a fine job holding this project up. You're about to hear in the hearings to get a problem fixed in his ward. I'm going to try. It really frustrates me to work with National Grid, Verizon, not so much Comcast. They're pretty good. I would just want to state, like, in the future, my colleagues, we ought to use this to our advantage again, because I have a couple of problems in my ward that go back to June 1st. Just for an example, I have a pole at 81 Sergeant Street across from the dog park that was hit. I think it was involved in an accident, and they did a rush job putting up a new pole. And I reached out to, there was actually wires hanging on the roof of a shed that's very popular for political signs right there at the off-ramp, that the person in the house that lives there was very concerned. So I reached out in emails to all three utilities, and Verizon responded first and told me that there were two little wires coming off the pole in front of the House 81. One is an electric service, and the other is cable. We do not have low wires at this location. So that concerned me about the electrical service of that wire. And I reached out to Dan Cameron and told him that my concerns of the public safety of the electrical wire. And I'm still waiting. I've had several. First of all, Comcast came and took care of the problem with the wires on the shed. They took the wires off the shed. They fixed it up. They cleaned it up. But National Grid has been very slow fixing their wires, or even transporting the stuff from the old pole to the new pole. Now, this all started with my first email on June 1st. And again, I tried to reach out twice today to Dan Cameron, and I think he didn't respond to my voicemail. It just gets frustrating. All these double poles, we get the calls. This was the time in the summer for them to fix them, to take them down. I mean, they had, we had the excuse in the winter, they have storms, people lose power. So we got to use whatever we can to get these problems fixed. And I have another case on 71 Milano Ave, pole 3, that I started May 1st. And they transferred all the wires. The wires have all been transferred to the new pole, and I've been trying to get Stan, the Verizon, down there to just remove the old pole. And again, I had another call. Stan answers his phone. I had a conversation with him today. He did promise me that he'd take care of that. I hope he fulfills on his promise, because it's just something that, it's really not, to me, it's really not a hard problem to fix. It's just getting them there, and it doesn't take a long time to do it. So in the future, I want my colleagues in the work, we'll all work together to use what we can. This was a great example of believe me, if this Fiore's Market didn't come up, this would have never happened. So we should continue to use this. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Guanasso.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Thank you, Councilor Pats, for the kind words. But it all goes back to one thing. I tried for this and tried for this, but if it wasn't for the cooperation of the Public Works Chair, Novoselsky, and my colleagues to stand with me in this defense, nothing would get accomplished. They would have just went out again and on their merry way, and they would have done what they wanted to do, add 5 or 6 new poles. And I might add, by the way, a little footnote, we've worked as hard as you can possibly work over the last 4 years to rid the city of poles, double poles. I slowly but surely see them coming back into our community. The double poles are coming back. And then why, for the life of me, when they install a new pole, do they have to wait months and years thereafter to get all the tenants on the pole to transfer their wires? I don't understand that for the fullest. And when they're installing the pole, the very first day, the landowner in most cases is Verizon. They should move their wires the very same day they're changing the pole. So they should be the first tenant already relocated. But we'll save that conversation for another day. But keep your eyes open for the double poles slowly but surely coming back, and we don't want that to happen again. I had 23 double poles on Cushman Ave alone. That was a nightmare. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you, Counselor. So we're going to vote on this one. Roll call.
On Council Order 17-297, shall the City Council approve the petition of National Grid to install pole and wire locations on Revere Street? Councilor Janino?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Guanasso?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor McKenna?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Morbido?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky? Yes. Councilor Patch?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Powers?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Rotundo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And Council Vice President Keefe?
Yes.
Yes, the petition has been approved. On to Council Order 17-298. Shall the City Council approve the joint petition of National Grid and Verizon to install poles, wires, and fixtures, including necessary sustaining and protection fixtures along Revere Street, approximately 120 feet south of the center line of the intersection of Hutchinson Street? Councilor Janino?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Guanasso?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor McKenna?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Morbido? Yes. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Patch?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Powers?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Rotundo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And Council Vice President Keefe?
Yes.
Yes, the petition has been approved. On Council Order 17-299, shall the City Council approve the joint petition of National Grid and Verizon to locate poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures along and across the following public way on Floyd Street at a point approximately 50 feet east of the center line of the intersection of Bryant Street? Councilor Janino?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Guanasso?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor McKenna?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Morbido?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Patch?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Powers?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Rotundo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And Council Vice President Keefe?
Yes.
Yes, the petition has been approved. And the last petition, 17-300, shall the City Council approve the joint petition of National Grid and Verizon to locate poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures, along and across the following public way on Waite Street at approximately 75 feet south of the center line of the intersection of Revere Street? Councilor Janino?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Guanasso?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor McKenna?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Morbido?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Patch?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Powers?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Rotundo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And Council Vice President Keefe? Yes, the petition has been approved. On to communications, Council Order 17-354, communication from the Election Commissioner requesting approval of the warrant for the local election on Tuesday, November 7th, 2017. Council Order 17-356, communication from the SUDI office relative to motion 17-346.
May I have it read, please?
Please read this, Madam Clerk, would you please read it?
Dear councilors, this letter is regarding motion 17-346 that the City Council and Planning Board implement a ban on the sale of recreational marijuana passed on September 25th, 2017. Firstly, I feel it is important that the purpose of this correspondence is to present you with educational information as it relates to the matter in question. Furthermore, the Substance Use Disorder Initiatives Office neither opposes nor supports the motion. However, as the director of the department, it is my duty to promote data-driven information as it relates to the development of policies that impact those most affected by the issue. To that end, I ask that you consider the implications of this motion per the bullet points listed on the next page. I would be more than happy to provide further details if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you for taking the time to review this information and for your ongoing dedication in serving the community. Sincerely, Julia Newhall, Director of SUDI.
Place on file.
On to motions. Council Order 17-357, motion presented by Councilor Guanasso that the City Council award a certificate of appreciation to Joseph Maglione of the DPW for his unselfish devotion to serving the residents of Revere and for his vast knowledge of the city's water and sewer system.
Councilor Guanasso.
Mr. Vice President, I will hold my comments for the night of the certificate award.
Thank you. Councilor Rotundo.
Councilor Guanasso, if you wouldn't mind adding me to that, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
Hi,
Any other
Eric.
councilors wishing to speak? Oh, someone from the audience.
Yes, sir. Hi, Eric Limpidecchio, 43 Tapley Avenue. I've met Mr. Maglione twice, once in this council chamber where he came from home to clarify some questions regarding a pipe on Sagamore Street. And soon after that, the pipe was installed, and those residents are now happy down there, and he got that issue fixed from home. He came right up. I had another positive experience with them as recently as yesterday over on Lancaster Avenue in the Point of Pines. There was a crater-sized hole from some of the flash flooding that we experienced over the weekend, and Mr. Maglione came out on a Sunday during the Patriots game and brought us a nice orange barrel to cover it while the city could reallocate resources on Monday to fix it. So very much in favor of this, and I just want to thank him personally as well. Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor?
Council Order 17-358, motion presented by Councilor Keefe, that the mayor be requested to appropriate funding for parking and code enforcement to operate on weekends and evenings 7 days per week.
Any councilors wishing to speak? Speaks for itself.
Council Order
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Person.
Hi, Eric Lampidecchio, 43 Tapley Avenue. Question regarding this motion for you, Councilor Keefe. I know that these meetings are not yet concluded, so I know that there's another meeting scheduled on October 11th, I believe at 10 a.m. Can you confirm that?
The meeting time I don't have in front of me. I believe it is 10 a.m., but this isn't just in regards to parking. I guess I will speak on it real briefly, if I may. This is, we city councilors, everyone knows we get many requests. And the biggest reason most people are upset are our codes are not always enforced. We have housing issues, they're not enforced. We have building issues, they're not always enforced. We have a staff that typically only works the day, and I get that. That's just the way it's been going for many, many years. But if everyone knows that on Saturday afternoon, if you know that a building inspector isn't going to come check out if you're doing your wiring properly, if you're doing illegal activities, they know they're going to do it on the weekends and nights. So to staff this department 24/7, we'd be able to enforce the code a little bit more. Obviously, when it comes to parking, if everyone knows that we don't have parking enforcement on Sundays, which we don't, or very rarely we do because we don't have the staff for it, you're going to park like animals on Sundays. So simple as that. And we're a big enough city. I'm sure the city resources the mayor can allocate to staff these departments 24/7. Councilor Rotundo.
you're speaking to the choir here. This is one of the things that I fought for in the past and was laughed at. You know, at that time, they were actually doing far more nefarious things than just putting up roofs. We'll leave that as it be. But, you know, whether you're up on Rand or Oxford, or for that matter, whether you're down on Beach Street, whether it be parking enforcement or for that matter, code enforcement, it definitely needs to be done. And not to have people available when it's pertinent, you know, on off hours, it's kind of like defeating the purpose of having a code. So I fully support this, and hopefully the mayor can find the money to put into these positions and do a nationwide search and find someone here from Revere and, you know, put them in on the job. So just a little dig. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you. Motion to approve.
Council Order 17-359, motion presented by Counselor Rotundo, that the City Council award a certificate of merit to the family of retired Fire Lieutenant Dennis Russo for over 30 years of service to the city of Revere.
Counselor Rotundo.
Actually, that's a misprint. It's actually supposed to be to First Lieutenant Dennis Russo. So if we could do that, I apologize. My finger's a little bit quicker than my mind sometimes. So, thank you.
Counselor McKenna? Oh, Counselor Guanasso.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Certainly, Fire Lieutenant Dennis Russo, I've known for many, many years, is a wonderful public servant for our community. I'm very sorry that I missed the opportunity for his final bell sound the other day. It was Friday, and I had about 4 or 5 other things already scheduled. But Dennis, I will save my comments for the night of the award, but certainly the recognition given to him is well-deserved, and a very, very dedicated firefighter throughout his whole career. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you. Motion to approve?
Were you holding the next two over, Counselor Rotundo? Or do you want to?
Actually, just 17,360. Are you saying it's a slow night? All right, let's wrap them up now.
Late motion presented by
We got this on
Counselor
camera,
Rotundo,
buddy.
that the Revere City Council request both state and federal delegation to increase fuel subsidies.
Counselor Rotundo.
Thank you. You're being very generous tonight. You look real happy, too. That said, this is a serious issue for the people of Revere. Literally 1/3 of our population will need some type of aid regarding fuel subsidies or fuel assistance. By asking both state and federal delegation to increase these, we'll be able to hopefully get them garnered towards CAPIC, who distributes these funds. And in the next motion, you'll see why I'm actually, asking Robert Rapucci to come forward. But quite frankly, this is a need. The delegation, both at the state and federal level, have done this in the past, and we need to, like other communities, push them along and get them to do it. So if we could send a letter to our delegations appropriately, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Zambudo.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I'm sure you know, I've been an 18-year board member of CAPIC's organization. It's certainly was an eye-opening experience for me. Some of us, including my colleague, Councilman McKenna, were at the 50th anniversary celebration the other night. And my colleague, Councilor Novoselsky, it was quite an event, and all the state delegation was there, the speaker, and who's been a supporter of CAPIC longer than me, and that's saying something. So, we've worked collaboratively. Perhaps my colleague to my right is looking for some federal help, which I'm always in favor of, but we've made a lot of progress with fuel assistance, especially. I was able to get Global to commit to an extra 2,000 gallons of emergency fuel for Revere, and they've kept that commitment every year for the last 10 years at least. I don't know what my colleague to my right is saying over there, but someday I'll learn how to read lips. Oh, okay. Anyhow, anything we can do to help CAPIC help people, because that's what CAPIC does. It's people helping people. So anything we can do, I'll support. And if it means having the executive director come up here and speak to us to tell us the ways that we may be able to help him, I'm all in favor of it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any other councilors wishing to speak? Councilor Guanasso.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I had the pleasure of working with Robert for many, many years, and certainly it's not only fuel assistance that's offered out by CAPIC. They do home winterizing, they do storm doors, they do insulation. They even go and blow insulation into walls of homes that people, just to conserve fuel and to help those people in need. And so the program in itself is just a great program. And maybe 2 years ago or maybe a year ago, Bob was up here and he was stating the many facts that they do and the many things that they do. And the program that they offer out, I think it's worthy of them coming before us again. And I think this is a great motion based on the fact that it reintroduces to some of the folks outside that haven't been versed on this to get an education as to what they really benefits that they come up with. So I think it's a good motion, Counselor, and I think that the community will be well served by it.
Thank you. And someone from the audience?
Eric Lampadecchio, 43 Tapley Avenue. It's my third strike, I know. Just a point of information, as I work in financial services, at the state level, there is a program called the HEAT Loan, and the state partners with many local financial institutions to offer a 0% loan that stretches out sometimes as long as 82 months if you qualify for the program. So given that the winter months are coming, this might be a valuable product for some families in Revere. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilor Rotundo, this is a good motion. I know that I have some seniors in my ward specifically that rely heavily on fuel assistance. This is something that goes a long way for the residents of Revere, so thank you. Motion approved.
Late motion presented by Councilor Rotundo that the mayor request Robert Rapucci, Director of CAPIC, to appear before the City Council to update the council on programs offered by CAPIC, how one can access these programs, and what benchmarks have been set and the outcomes.
Councilor Rotundo.
Thank you. This has to do with everything from fuel assistance to weatherization, but more importantly, one of the programs that he's running that I believe we subsidize to some degree regarding drug abuse outreach. And I'd like to find out what their numbers are, what they're doing, more importantly, what successes that they have and what failures they've had, and how we can help mediate them, either be financially or through service or process. And that's a big issue. I know that they have 2 vans that go out, and they do quite a bit of work. And I'd like to see how that's working for them over there in Chelsea predominantly and partly in Revere, and then how we can emulate some of that over here as well.
Thank you. Councilor McKenna?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I just want to say thank you to, since we have Robert Rapucci here, we're talking about him. I just want to say we reached out to him to get housing, free housing for the Taft Street fire victims, and we got it from him. And we got it from Matt Philbin too, but we did get financial aid from him. So I just want to say thank you with that. That's one of the programs that he did offer. Thank you.
Councilor Zambuto.
Thank you. Not to beat a dead horse, but if anybody was at the 50th anniversary the other night, they would have heard our former mayor and current city manager of Chelsea sing the virtues of Bob Rapucci and the CAPIC organization for the work they've done on gangs and drug abuse. And my colleague talked about the vans, the outreach vans they have there. It's an amazing organization. I think everybody should learn a lot more about what they do. Thank you.
Councilor Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I was at the fair the other evening, and actually I stood there while I observed probably an hour and a half of accolades from dozens of people around Suffolk County toward Barbara Pucci. I knew Barbara Pucci's father. We were very friendly, and as a result of that, I was friendly with Barbara Pucci. And I can honestly say that any time that I've ever called him for assistance for anyone, whether it be for fuel assistance, or winterization, or any one of the many other programs that Barbara Pucci runs, he has always answered the phone and assisted every single time. I've never had one time when I've called Barbara Pucci and he hasn't been there for the people I represent. And I think that the accolades he received the other evening were well-deserved. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you, Counselor. Another good motion. I was unable to attend last week. I had a prior commitment, but it was a great event, I heard. But regardless of that, the work that the CAPIC does and what Robert Pucci does in our city and for the neighboring cities is excellent. I have the pleasure of watching what he does with the PAL League and how they influence that, like you said, working with troubled teens. It's commendable, so I look forward to seeing him. Motion to approve.
Late motion presented by Councilor Rotundo that the mayor request the Director of SUDI to appear before the Revere City Council to discuss programs offered, the organizational chart, outreach process, and number of people served. Additionally, that SUDI updates the council on funding sources, what type of grants have been awarded, and that SUDI provide the City Council with ongoing benchmarks and outcomes.
Councilor Rotundo.
Thank you. Again, this kind of echoes the same sentiment regarding CAPIC in regards to their use of their umbrella program for addiction. And I'd like to kind of see what they're doing here at SUDI and just follow their process and kind of get a better understanding of it. And then more importantly, what can we do to actually upfund them if we need to? Do they need another person to help with grant? Would they need someone for outreach? You know, whatever it is that it has to. And I'd like them to check in with us every 6 months just so that we have an idea of what's going on. Listen, I carry this around with me not because I want to play with it. This is Narcan, and I've given this out probably at least 2 times a month for the past year and a half here. My kids over at Dunkin' Donuts in Revere, in Winthrop, in Chelsea, I've got the higher dose medication that I have with me as a nurse that's in the little vials. And the reason being is that this is a serious issue in Revere. Our overdose rate, our mortality rate has doubled practically within the past 2 years, actually increased by 10. And over a 3-year period, it's been up and down. Over a 6-year period, it's been pretty much roller coastering back and forth between 26 deaths to 14 deaths to 17 deaths, and now we're back up to 26 for the last fiscal year. This is a serious matter. So not to have them come and talk to us every 6 months about what's going on, we're walking blindly here. We engage the people every day, and it's just another set of eyes for them. And more importantly, if we know exactly what they do and how they do it, we'll have the ability to help them as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other councilors wishing to speak? Motion to approve.
So late communication from the city solicitor relative to the solicitor's opinion relative to banning recreational marijuana.
Please attach to 317-346. Placed on file. Thank you. No further business tonight. That'll close out our council meeting. Our next council meeting will be on October 16th, 2017. Thank you and have a great night.
Mr. Vice President,
Councilor Bonasso.
prior to adjournment, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Columbus Day.
Happy Columbus Day.
Make sure
Don't
you
forget
come out to the parade.
the parade is at 1 p.m. Starts at
And
Lower Broadway.
if I might, Mr. President, the governor and the lieutenant governor will be marching in the parade.
Correct. Thank you. Have a great night.